Hi, everyone. How are you? Blessings to you. So, here we are live again. Just had an interesting situation here. The power went out and it just came on about 10 minutes ago. I have no idea why the power would go out. It's a beautiful sunny day here. I'm just going to close my window. One sec. We will get started. There we go. Okay. So, today's topic is when situations or life feels out of control. We're just going to do a reading for that. So you can refer back to this reading anytime if that's helpful, if you're feeling like something is way out of control for you. We're going to do a little bit of a breathing meditation to center ourselves first, and then we'll pull some cards. So I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for coming. So, and as we're doing this breathing meditation, I'll be channeling a little bit of information about what you can do when you feel like situations out of your control. So basically what you can do and how you can stay in your power. So just take a deep heart breath right into your heart there. So really setting the intention to slow down your mind and just slow everything right down right now, and to give yourself permission to just be here right now and really present with yourself and with this reading, so you can receive any messages that you need to receive around any situations you're having, whether it's about situations that are out of control or whether it's about something else. It doesn't really matter. Hi, Wen. So just we're going to just start breathing and relaxing and bringing ourselves into receiving mode. As we do this, we're actually changing our brain waves. We're changing which part of the brain we're using as we start to slow everything down and start to relax our body and intentionally relax our mind. Excuse me, my nose is itchy. I'm just going to scratch that. Intentionally relax our mind. We do change the portion of our brain that we're using. So we start to use more of the frontal lobe. As we start to relax, we actually become more conscious, more present, and we're less in our monkey or lizard brain where we tend to worry and we're in our past or we're in our future. We're not in the present moment. So where we want to be is here and now. Okay, so we're going to just keep breathing in deeply, bringing that breath in as deeply as you can. If you can, put your feet flat on the ground so that we can ground ourselves. And if you can, just start regulating your breath, slowing it down, and start having a really even breath, and paying attention to where the breath is going in your body, how deep it's going into your body. If you're not able to breathe very deeply, just notice it. Probably means that you're holding some tension in your body. But as we do this, you can start to relax more and more, and the breath will start to come deeper and deeper. But just remembering that when we're in situations that are stressful and we're not present, our breath gets really shallow. So even if you're in a really stressful situation, if you remember to slow down your mind, slow everything down, and just to focus on your breath and start to bring your breath down a little bit lower, you can start to relax and bring yourself into more presence. And allow yourself to be present with your feelings, whatever it is that's coming up to be processed in that moment, whatever that moment is triggering for you, whatever emotions and thoughts that moment is triggering for you, as you breathe and you slow everything down, you can notice more and hold space for those parts to actually process, instead of getting sent back into that pattern where we just keep recreating it. So we want to feel. So from this place of being more relaxed, we can actually hold space to just feel. So continuing to do that. Continuing to slow down and relax our body. And so just to start off, if we're just going to talk a little bit about situations outside of us that are out of our control, there's nothing we can really do, or there's nothing we actually think we can do about it. It's obviously something, I mean, if we're talking about it here today and it's on your mind, it's probably something that is emotional for you, be it scary or sad, brings up grief or fear, anything like that. And it's not fun to have a situation that's out of your control and that you desperately want to have some control over. And so the key to starting to move through and change situations like this for yourself and how you react to them and how they affect you is basically your state with yourself and your relationship with yourself. So even with this pandemic and all the changes, the incredible upheaval that's happening in this world, that a lot of it is out of our control, you'll notice that different people are having different experiences with it, right? And it depends on how that situation is affecting us personally, but you can take two people that perhaps are experiencing the same situation, for example, and they might react in two very different ways. And that reaction will have a lot to do with how present they can stay, how clear-minded they are, how clear they are emotionally. And yeah, basically that's it. So that is your relationship with yourself, your emotions, and your thoughts. And it's kind of like how in balance can they stay in those situations. And even if it's not an immediate situation, like a crisis where, yeah, sometimes you do really need to act quickly. If it's not a situation like that, then we can take time to really come back to center. We want to notice when we're being triggered. So this is our awareness. This is really important, that we are aware always of when our mind is racing, especially around really negative thoughts about situations that are out of our control. And our emotions, we have really strong emotions. We're having emotional reactions. The key is to have awareness, right? So it's like, wow, I'm usually we can notice first that we're having a lot of mental activity happening, a lot of negative thoughts going through our head. And then when we realize that, it's really important to just say, okay, you can ask yourself, are these thoughts helping me? Are they helping the situation? Are they helping anyone? So me having these negative thoughts, are they helping me? Are they helping this situation? And how are these thoughts behaving? Like, are they really aggressive? Are they helpful to anyone? You know, and if they feel really aggressive, you know, it's time to come back to yourself and figure out what's really going on for you, and to really slow everything down so that you can start to have clarity, right? So when you start to slow everything down, you move out of the back of your brain, which is more, again, of your monkey brain and your lizard brain, and you start moving into your frontal lobe, where you can actually find clarity. You're more connected to spirit. You're more connected to your higher self and wisdom. And you're more connected to your emotions and your mind, and you can notice more. Then you start to have more clarity about, okay, is this actually something that I can do something about? Are there any actions I can take? And the thing is, when you're in this state of consciousness and presence, you will have more of a knowing about what to do, because when you have clarity, it's more of a knowing, and you're going to start receiving guidance or information, but it's more of a quiet knowing. So as opposed to when you're reacting to emotions, there's a lot of turmoil happening, right? So it's always better to slow everything down and to become really clear, so you can have that knowing about, well, this is what I need to do, or I can take this one action right now. Or it's like, no, you have the clarity that it's like, no, I'm not supposed to do anything right now. It's not in anybody's highest and best good, especially mine, for me to act right now. Right now I need to really observe, or whatever it is, and keep myself really calm so that I can be there for myself and for other people when they actually need me, and I can respond from my higher self, from wisdom, from spirit, as opposed to reacting from my emotions. So you can even just take yourself through a really quick exercise, just like we just did. Hi, John. And take yourself through this exercise where you just literally tell yourself, okay, we're just going to slow everything down right now, because we're on this hamster wheel right now. I can feel it, and it will feel really horrible. It doesn't feel good. And so just literally telling yourself, okay, I'm going to slow everything down right now. And I'm going to start breathing, and I'm going to start breathing deeper and deeper, and start relaxing my body, allowing any emotions I'm feeling just to flow. Okay, so we're going to pull some cards around this now. Again, these are the messenger cards. Excuse me. I don't have any water here. That's okay. So these are the messenger cards. I am the creator of the messenger cards. And you can purchase them on my website, strokeofsoul.com. So I did all the artwork and wrote all the messages for them. So I'm really connected to them. I've been working with them now for about 8 years. It was the first time I had them printed was 8 years ago. And so love these cards. I'm really, really, really connected to them. So I'm going to start choosing some cards here. I'm just shuffling until they feel really shuffled. And then if any cards pop out, I'm going to use them for the reading, because they are wanting, there we go, I got 2 cards there. They're really wanting to be used in the reading. So I'm going to pull 3 cards all together, unless any more want to pop out. So I've got 3 cards. First card goes in the center, although I picked 2 at once. I'm just going to intuitively choose which one's going to go in the center. And then the other 2 cards go on either side of the card in the center. The card in the center is where our higher selves want us to focus to move forward through our situations where we feel that we're out of control. And so again, if you stay really relaxed and open, then you can also receive your own messages around your own situations. Maybe there's more details you're going to receive. And if you do, please send me a message to let me know what it is you're hearing and seeing. And that's great. It's always really helpful. So the first card that I chose is Owning Your Power. It's a raven. Owning Your Power, number 19. He's a very sovereign looking raven. And my animals in my cards were all painted and created from the energy of like the shamanic animal spirits. So to me, Raven is a lot about creating from the void, creating from new. He's the messenger of the void. And to me, Raven is a wonderful energy for breaking patterns and for really being present and creating new, like in the moment, and being in your power in the moment, being a messenger in the moment. The second card is, love this, it's the white buffalo, deep self-respect. And so the second and the third cards really fine-tune the energy of the first card. And so the meaning of the first middle card can really shift according to what the second and the third card is. And the third card is grace. So that's a swan, and that's her neck bending around, and that's her face there, that's her beak and her eye there. So it's a little more abstract than than any other painting in the deck, actually. So the energy of grace. So in this moment, wow, okay, so just kind of receiving some messages here. So when these moments are feeling really out of control, okay, owning your power. Okay, so what does that mean to own your power? So when you own your power, I'm going to show these other two cards with it. You're owning your gifts. You're owning your connection to source energy. You're owning your sovereignty. You're owning you're not giving your power away to it, right? I think that's the main part of this here, is you're not giving, you don't want to be giving your power. Okay, I'm having a very hard time with this. You don't want to be giving your power away to this situation. What does it mean to give your power away to a situation? Giving your power away to a situation means that, well, in anything, it's an energy leak. So you're giving your energy to something that can give you, that is not going to give you anything in return. It's not going to give you a good return in your energy. So, for example, if this situation is out of control and you are worrying about it and worrying and worrying and worrying, and you're in your monkey brain, you're spending energy, right? You're spending your powerful energy on worrying instead of actually being in your power, which is being in your connection, which is what we just talked about. So slowing down, breathing, and receiving your own wisdom on this situation. So you want to trust your own guidance and your own wisdom on this situation as to whether or not you act or you don't act, what it is you're going to do. And so this takes a lot of strength, because especially in what's happening right now in the world with the pandemic and Black Lives Matter, there's so much information going on around, really contradicting information and facts, and lots of different, angles on everything. And it's really important that you listen to yourself and your truth and your higher self on what your truth is and how to move forward in these situations. And it's like, yeah, well, today coming from a really centered place, I know and I can feel that I need to be at this rally today, or no, it's actually better if I take care of myself today, or I take care of this today, right? Okay, so in regards to staying in your power, these other two cards specifically are telling us, first of all, to listen. So deep self-respect is the white buffalo, and deep self-respect is about truly listening to your own voice, not listening to the voices of anyone else. So really reiterating being in your power, right? Usually this card means that we have been listening to other people's voices and opinions, and it's time, and that will cause us a lot of conflict, especially if we're trying to take on beliefs of somebody else. So This card specifically is saying you've been listening too much to the opinions of other people, maybe somebody really specific, and those opinions aren't really resonating with you. So it's time for you to listen, really deeply listen to yourself. I'm just going to actually read this message from the book. I love this particular message from the book. That's number 32. So this message book comes with the cards when you order the cards. Deep self-respect, the white buffalo. Are you listening? What is your soul asking of you in this very moment? What is your soul asking of you in this life experience? Are you willing to follow this loving guidance down your true path? Listening to your inner wisdom and following through with thought, word, and deed is the key to deep self-respect. When we commit to ourselves first, our life transforms from one of living on the surface to truly connecting with ourselves, others, and our life experience. Commit to honoring and respecting the quiet and steady voice within, even when it's guiding you in a new direction. This is how we find peace and understanding in all that we are creating. Remember, integrity, impeccability, and compassion. So it's about being in integrity with yourself and what your true inner voice is telling you and what your soul is calling you to do in this situation, even if you've never acted in this way before. But this is how we actually stay in our power, is when we are in integrity with ourselves. Okay, and then the last card is grace. Oh my goodness, I love this card. I love the energy of grace. Grace is an energy that can come to us in times of stress. We can call on grace. It is its own, to me, it's its own energy. It's its own power. The energy, when we can be a channel for grace in situations, we are very powerful in that moment, and we can be the change, right? We can be the change and be the energy that can bring the shift, even if it's not right there in that moment. As we stand there in our power, in our grace, and really listening to what our truth is, we are the light and we are the force that can actually shift. Because we are in alignment with ourselves, we can bring that alignment out into the world. So we have to be in alignment with ourselves before we can have any positive effect outside of us. So grace is, I'm going to tell you a little story about grace and how I came to write the message for this card. So at the time that I wrote this card, I was in a relationship. It was not the relationship I'm in now. It was a really difficult relationship, but it was the beginning of a relationship, and I thought that I had made a huge mistake and that I had hurt someone, and that, wow, I was really judging myself really harshly. I thought I had made just a drastic mistake, and I thought that I'd really hurt someone. And I was just really hurting, and I felt really terrible. And I surrendered, and I actually prayed and just said, okay, like, please give me some clarity on this. And honestly, I felt like an angel had just come down, and I was filled with light, and I was filled with forgiveness, and I could see that I didn't make the mistake on purpose. It had come from a pattern, and I was able to forgive myself. It was an incredible experience, and you can call on grace. I'm going to also read this message. I love these messages. They still surprise me when I read them, even though I wrote them. So grace tells us that at all times it's okay to be who we are, make mistakes, find perfection in our mistakes, forgive ourselves, and be loved unconditionally. It is all too easy to judge ourselves for our actions in the past, especially if we have affected others around us that we love. When we have the courage to look at ourselves and understand the root of our behavior, we can truly forgive ourselves. This will often shed light on the false personalities that we have created to mask the parts of ourselves that really need to be loved and understood. False personalities are the masks we wear that stand between ourselves and our connection to Source. As our consciousness grows, the masks no longer fit and they become uncomfortable. What was once relevant behavior can no longer be sustained. When there's a disruption in our life, it is usually a call from the universe to let go to what is no longer working. Grace allows us to walk in our path with compassion for ourselves and others. So it's realizing that, yeah, this behavior has created this outcome, but understanding the roots of it and being able to forgive ourselves, and we can be grace. And so then we, when, these patterns have usually been going on for a long time. So whatever situation we're experiencing on outside of us, each of us is having our own reaction to it, and it is a part of our own patterns. If you kind of understand what I'm saying. So it's time to start calling grace in and seeing what part of us it is that needs to be loved, that is creating this pattern, that is like a mask that we wear that's not truly who we are, but it's covering up actually our pain and the part of us that needs to be loved in our authentic selves. So it's taking off that mask, forgiving ourselves, seeing what the pattern is, seeing what the root of that pain is, or even just feeling the root of that pain, really feeling it, taking the mask off and being authentic and being able to stand in grace and to own our power. So that one goes on this side, to really own our power. So again, here, what Spirit is saying collectively really is to stand in our own power. And this is, again, a lot about sovereignty, listening to our own soul, listening to what is right for us, what is right action or non-action to take, what it is we're learning from this, and to really start seeing the masks that we're wearing that keep us out of our power. And once we start taking those masks off, we start to stand in our authenticity, and we start to stand in our power, and we start to be a channel for grace in those situations. We start to be a power of change in those situations. And it's not about, necessarily using force, but it's what we are being guided to do, and often the truth can look very different in different situations, and sometimes the truth can be harsh, and this truth can sound really harsh, and sometimes we feel angry, and it's authentic, right? And we can express that anger. We don't need to hurt people, but it's okay in those moments to really stand in our power. And it's like, if express, it's like, no, this is not correct, this is not right. And so I think we have a lot of judgments about what being in our power is. A lot of that is actually standing in our divine masculine power, in balance with our divine feminine power. And that, when our masculine and feminine is in balance within each of us, and we each have our own unique balance of masculine and feminine. We all have our unique expressions of masculine and feminine that make us uniquely us. When we are balanced and we are in our masculine energy, then we can express what it is that's authentic for us, what it is that is true for us, and how we can, how we see this situation, and how we can affect, and how, and then we can actually affect the situation in the world in positive ways. So we can only do that when we are standing in our power and in our light. and we're really balanced. So again, it's like just slowing down. Like when we find we're being caught up, it's time to just really slow down so you can tune into yourself and your soul and your higher self and get clarity on what it is that you need to do in this situation that is the answer for you specifically, and to be grace in that situation and see how your life changes and how you can actually change the life of others around you. I believe that's it. That's the reading. So I do personal readings like this as well. You can find those on my website, strokeofsoul.com. That's in the shop with the cards. And if you subscribe to my newsletter, you'll always be up to date on my latest workshops and blogs and everything that I'm doing. So thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate that you took the time to come and join me and watch my video, and just to take time to tune into yourself and to become aligned and find your own clarity. That's how it works. That's how we change the world. That's how we make our lives better and the lives of everyone around us. So blessings to you and your loved ones and to whatever situations you find yourself in. And may you be the light in the world, because you are. I love you.